The legislative body in the state of Alaska should start recognizing that the Workforce Development Initiative, the vocational training, the TVEP funds, the STEP funds, the efforts in the local high schools, it's all starting to work now. And we can tell that by the contribution in the unemployment tax. A lot of that's coming from construction workers. Construction workers are starting to become more stable and starting to reach the broader community in each community. And that gets to workforce development as well. Economic development cannot happen without proper workforce development. We have to reach down into the high schools, teach these guys with the relevant industries coming up into the state of Alaska, and that's what we're doing now.
Back in the pulp mill days, when the kids got out of high school, they had jobs to go to, so they could pay their way through college. Our goal is to provide jobs for not only our tribe members, but those that live in Southeast Alaska, native and non-native. Those that can't afford to go to college, but want to learn a trade, this is where they'll start.
Talking with Chaz earlier, and one of the first things they teach the new workforce is put on your safety gear, show up on time. Basic things that a lot of us in our generation just think is normal, but the younger kids need to be reinforced that is how in fact jobs work and how you keep your employment and be able to take care of your family. Because when you look across the dinner table at your kids and your spouse, and you have a mortgage payment and you have shoes to buy for your children and clothes, you need a decent wage job. And the only way you're going to get that is with training. So it's going to be very beneficial for multiple generations.
Let's give a brief history on how this program, this partnership with Revilla High School has developed.
Well, initially we wanted to, we committed to the state of Alaska that we would help address the dropout rate here in Ketchikan. How it started is the first year we committed to the district, we said, let us do a quarter. One quarter, see how it goes. I taught at the university level, so I can, the district did approve the curriculum and they got a math credit in that. It worked out pretty well. The kids were starting to get a little interest in it. So the next year we went for a semester. And it increased by 1 or 2 kids. Still a struggle to get the kids to show up, as in all educational facilities. So this year is the 3rd year for a full year. So it kind of gradually built itself up. We're trying to build the culture of vocational training back into the high schools. And it's starting to work now.
This project represents change and hope, not only for our government's relationship with minority populations, but also for the individuals who will be trained in this new center. The economy of Southeast Alaska is changing, and in order for our citizens to keep up, training is essential. A training center such as this, both in symbol and in practice, represents a vision for the future and courage to make it happen. This is true not only for the individuals who will be trained here, but also for KIC itself.
Clearly my generation, which is our generation here, most of us in this room, live better than our parents, live better than their grandparents. But we need to make sure that the next generation lives better than us. Otherwise, we're going to be the first generation in known history to ever have the generation preceding us, maybe except the Dark Ages, go actually backwards in time, and that's unacceptable, especially in one of the richest states in the Union. And we're probably in the top 3 in the entire 50 states.
I said earlier, and I'll say it 100 times, and I'll say it to whoever will listen, that now is the time to double down on our efforts as a state. And in Ketchikan here, we're developing a model that the state can emulate. It's a holistic point. It's a holistic way of vocational training. It's what's been missing since I've been in vocational training. It's the social aspect of it, the workforce behaviors, driver's licenses, how to address a supervisor. We're going to address all that in these dormitories. These dormitories, by the way, was funded by the state of Alaska. And they seen the vision that we outlined about 5 years ago, and the legislature agreed with it then to let us run with it. So here we are, 5 years later, exactly where we said we'd be, and getting the results that I think that we as a state need to see. We've reduced the dropout rate. That's demonstrated by Revilla High School. We've increased the participation of vocational training and industry. It's really important to understand that industries are now buying into this as well. with cooperative work agreements. Our guys are actually going right onto the job site as trainees. I think the employer is going to be the one that's going to benefit the most out of this, because they won't have to go through that screening process. It's going to take a couple of years to develop. We've already had some good success recently, people going right out into the job market. But it's a big issue and it's a big state. So like I said, we are developing this so it can be practiced in other communities. And I think that's the key, that we have to realize that we're developing this for not only our region but statewide.